got notes. I'm ready. I'm ready to pod.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of Requesting Good Company. We're back at it again with another Eagles review. You see the game? We got a Eagles win against the Carolina Panthers, a 22-16 win by the Philadelphia Eagles. It was a tight one. We got a long time running Panthers fan and Chris Kirtley with us today. You see us in the Eagles Hall of Fame. Got Mike Vick, Donovan McNabb, and T.O. Deshaun Jackson, Philly Special, and Jeremiah Trotter. But Chris, give me your initial thoughts pre the game, what you thought was going to play out.
It's a good question. This was our first time. First of all, this is requesting good company, but this is the football segment. I'm thankful and honored to be on the show. So just wanted to start off with that, representing my Panthers. One of the few Panthers fans that you will know, but my Panther fandom goes all the way back to when we were in the Super Bowl. So the first time with Jake Delhomme and Steve Smith and Julius Peppers, and we've had some really good teams along the way. Today I was excited. Today was, from an injury report standpoint, it was the first time we've had five deep on wide receiver. First time we had both running backs. Miles Sanders was not healthy, but we drafted a running back from Texas, Jonathan Brooks, in the second round. And he's one of those potential guys. He sat behind Bijan Robinson at Texas. And then when it was his senior year and he actually got to start, he had some health concerns, but I still strongly believe Jonathan Brooks is a real player. So for him to come out healthy, Chuba, like I said, our wide receivers, our O-line, we've got a underrated O-line, I feel like. I was excited going into today. We're a beat-up team on defense, and there's really not a lot. A lot of that happened early in the season. And, so that's just unfortunate. But we've been keeping up with a lot of teams recently. We had a bad week last week in terms of fumbling in overtime to give the Buccaneers possession back. And so they came down and kicked the field goal, won the game. But as a fan, you always think your team is going to bounce back on games like that. When they come down close to it at the end, and it's just just a mistake or something that could have been avoided. The wind was kind of in our control, and we fumbled the ball. A lot of times, as a fan, you believe that coach can prepare the team to be ready. So, in all aspects, I was looking forward to today.
Well, my thought process of it is I know these Eagles. We've said it multiple times on this podcast. These Eagles do never make the game just simple. Never go out and just smack somebody in the mouth. We always play to our competition. The Panthers have looked good for the past couple of weeks ever since Bryce came back, and I knew it wasn't necessarily going to be a blowout. I never predicted that we were going to 50-piece them. I wouldn't have put $3 million on it like somebody else in Kentucky that did. And for all you fans that watch this, it was not me. I did not put $3 million down on the Eagles to beat the Panthers. I did, however, believe that we would win this game. I just knew it wasn't going to be pretty. It never is.
And congrats to that fan that put $3 million down, because that bet, it was a money line bet, and that bet hit. So
Yeah, it was negative 600
that's
odds.
reward.
He negative 600 odds. He still made about, you know, 600 to, 1.6 million. That's pretty good. That's a lot of money.
To dance. You think he cashed out at halftime, or was it 10-14 at half? I think
He's
he's like
silly too. Nah, he let it ride. If you putting 3 million down on something,
three mil. You
you're
gonna let
let,
3 mil ride?
yeah, you're letting it ride. If you got 3 million down, you're letting it ride. You're already all in. To even put it down, you're all in.
Man. I guess technically, shout out to him.
So it didn't start out like I would per se liked it. I'm sure you did. In the first quarter alone, it was 3-0. Panthers winning. Eagles punted twice. Panthers had good drives. Unfortunately, they got stopped. What are your thoughts on the first quarter, Chris?
I'm glad it's formatted this way because that's how I formatted it myself. And I actually have a chapter title for each quarter.
Oh, well, that's Dave. What you got for the first quarter?
I came prepared. Um, and it's funny because I got a phone call and a message here or there. I got a few friends that are Eagles fans that reminded me that they're Eagles fans today. And so we early in the first quarter we toss it to Xavier Leggett, and you think he's holding on to it, and I think it's Gardner Johnson comes through, pretty much knocks his head off. I felt
Molly
like, yeah. what was the what was the
Rock.
rock?
If you didn't know, I got my shit
Rock. That wore you out in there.
Rock.
Rocked him, and not I don't want to outright say it was targeting on a hard hit like that. For it to not even be reviewed is, I don't know. I just feel like more often than not, when you see those hits like that used to be like highlight film in like 2012, when you see those now, at least somebody's looking at it to see intention, defensive receiver, head and neck. But let's say clean hit.
It was shoulder.
Also,
It was a shoulder hit.
I felt like there was a rush on 53, Braun, the linebacker. I felt like it was offsides. They act like he stopped in time. You got, what was it? There was like there was a third down play that we converted, but it was like a close call, and they were acting like it was going to go to fourth down. I think they saw that we were going to get ready to challenge it. And so they just went ahead and gave us the first down without challenging it. But it's like, man, for us to even start off the game having to fight stuff like that, like, okay, is this offsides? Is this targeting? Is this a first down? My chapter title for quarter number one is "It's a home game."
Yikes. So you got
It's
chapter
a home game.
excuses.
Not even excuses. It's like I said, this is just some of the stuff I saw going on.
It's a home game. But
It's a home game.
and I think statistics wise, I think the Eagles are like the number 2 most penalized team in the NFL or something stupid
Fair.
like that. So we getting penalties, like
Fair. Positive note, it was cool seeing Saquon chasing the record for most rushing yards all time, or in a regular season for the Eagles franchise. I'm personally glad that he's doing well with the Eagles. You never want to see someone in a situation like that where teams just not willing to pay you or invest in you when you're as talented as somebody like him. So I'm all for him going off. Also, nice seeing Vontae back. So
got it. Yeah. We'll talk about him in the second quarter, but I do believe Saquon breaking that record, you should start seeing that across the National Football League with the extension of games and how long we're playing and how. But I think the difference with Philly is we aren't one of those teams that have a double-headed running back thing where we don't split running back carries that often. Gainwell is a nice third down back, but Saquon is in there on third downs usually as well. So he, he is a premier back, and it's showing this year.
so
So
even though it was my team, it was there's plenty of guys on the Eagles team that don't have any reason not to like. So
going into the second quarter, um, just the one highlight I have in that quarter is Devontae Smith getting a touchdown. That is miraculous. It's good to see him back in the lineup. He's needed. With Goddard being out, adding to our receiving core with AJ. AJ was shut down in the whole maybe first and second quarter, to be honest. I think he had ended up with like 4 or 5 catches on the day. But it's good to see Devontae back in. Devontae had 4 receptions for 37 and a touchdown. AJ had 4 receptions, 43 yards, and no touchdowns. But in a game like this, you're feeding Saquon. Saquon ended up going for 20 carries, 124 yards. Well, what do you got for quarter number 2?
Man, so quarter number 2, we're starting off the quarter as a Panthers fan. We're starting off. We're in this game, and it's those moments that are like 1 or 2 seconds from like a different result in a play, and Jalen Hurts' credit, and I'm one that's often critical of his passing game, but he has a way of creating just enough time to make a play, whether that's enough time to, take off running, which you saw a little bit more later in the game. So we'll probably get to that, or just buying enough time for his receivers to get open. I mean, there was one time where in the second quarter, I just knew we had a sack, and the momentum shifts on something like that. So that's when I'm talking about like 1 or 2 seconds, definitely that. Jalen Carter, we were down on the goal line. He made a quick play. I don't know, as a quarterback, I don't like the idea that you're tripping over your own feet trying to hand the ball off on the goal line. But even in doing so, Jalen Carter is back there in an instant.
A defensive interrupter. Like Jalen Carter is having an all-pro season. Doing what he's doing is just unrealistic. But
playing good ball.
Doing this against grown men.
And even with it being the fourth quarter, we're on the goal line. It's 4th and goal. Whether we convert this or not, I'm a big fan of going for it on the goal line. I'm a big fan of going for it on the road.
It's the #1 defense in the league as well.
But this Eagles team, you're not going to beat this Eagles team kicking field goals. Like, that's Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay, that's what they do, and I guess it works for them because they're playing good ball this year. But I think for a team like us, let's figure out early where we're at. If we don't get this, okay, we need to lock in and understand that we just missed an opportunity. If we do get this, things are still rolling in the right direction for us. The chapter title I have for quarter 2, Bryce is still Bryce. And I think Bryce has come a long way. I think he's shown a lot of great flashes. It's the timing and the momentum of the mistake. And I'd say up until like right before this interception, he is, if I'm giving him a grade, I'm giving him like an 89 or a 90 on the assignment of today's game. I mean, it's not much more I can personally ask for until this throw. He's under pressure. He's made some good throws the past few games, not just today, made some good throws, feeling confident, thinking he can kind of drop it in the bucket again, a little too much on it. Intercepted, they go down, they score going into the locker room. That's being on the road, being the underdog already by 13 and a half. That's just not an ideal play. It's just not. And when I say Bryce is still Bryce, I don't mean that in a negative way. I do mean that he's still young. He's still got a little bit to learn.
That was
the tush push.
That was the Devontae Smith touchdown before halftime.
Yep.
So
the tush push. I think it's time to go ahead and ban the tush push.
We're not banning the tush push because nobody can stop it. Everybody has the same opportunity to do it. They don't have the personnel to do it. They don't have the strength and quarterback to do it. I don't think it needs to be banned. I think it needs to be stopped before you even think about getting a ban. It's a play that is designed for quarterback sneak. I mean, it just so happens that we do it so effectively. I don't necessarily think the the pushing neck mechanism of it is the part that helps it as much as the offensive line being the best in the league and Jalen Hurts being a quarterback who squats 600 pounds. That's it's just it's what it is.
It's fair. I think, should they, in my opinion, should they ban it? Should they not ban it? I'm not as particular on what I'm particular on is if they do decide to ban it, let's go back and review every game where it was used and put an asterisk.
Oh, you're wilding. You're wilding. You're wilding. What is he? He's like third in most quarterback touchdowns or something all time right now or something, which is insane. I mean, he hasn't been in the league that long. So
It's something.
you you hate it because you really want to give him the credit, but you can't do it. And that's okay. He's going to get his credit. He's going to get his. And the thing people want to say about Jalen is like, oh, he's not putting up MVP numbers. He's not doing this. Jalen Hurts is a winner. Has beat Patrick Mahomes, has beat Josh Allen, has beat Lamar Jackson, has beat.
Yeah, I'm not a big Josh Allen guy. So.
They like Josh Allen, but he hasn't lost those big games. He's a winner. It's hard to fight against a winner. Going in halftime, it was 14-7. I don't know how that happened. That's cap. It was 14-10 going into halftime. 14-10 going into halftime. And we come out and we're getting the ball. So that momentum shift quickly. But then we get to the third quarter and we come out and we don't score at all in the third quarter, which is insane to me. We had a lot of defensive stops, but we couldn't stop them when it mattered the most in the third quarter. Y'all ended up rushing for a touchdown in the third with Chuba after he technically scored, and then they said he scored. I give it to him. He definitely scored. I mean, but it's hard to reverse those plays unless it's like definitive. I would have called a touchdown on the field, but he ended up scoring anyway the next play. Congratulations.
Fortunately
for you.
Fortunately. Okay. Yeah. Fortunately.
So what's she third quarter?
Third quarter. Question: are there field goal issues in Philadelphia?
Unfortunately, Jake Elliott, who's one of our captains, I think we put him in a bad position. We make him kick 56-yard field goals and miss them, and then expect him to just be all there mentally on a regular field goal. Like this has happened for the past two games, and we've touched on it in not the last podcast, but the podcast before last. He missed like 4 field goals or 3 or something like that, and they were all 50-yarders. Like, I don't think we need to put him in that kind of situation, but that's on Jalen some sorts, and a little bit on the play calling, in my opinion.
That's fair, because sometimes it'll be like a penalty on or they're just trying to get him to snap it or something, and then it's penalty, scooted back, whatever it is. But just thought I would ask. I'll give credit where it's due, but then I'm also, if I'm doing that, I'm also holding you accountable. Dave Canales, great. I'm glad that we're aggressive and we're going for it on the goal line on fourth down instead of a field goal. What I don't like, third quarter, because we can't snap the ball, we're having to burn an early timeout. And that we'll get there for when we get to the fourth quarter and there's 3 minutes left. We got to go 90 something yards with no timeouts. Well, that starts because we can't snap the ball when we need to. Something fundamental, and it felt like all game long, whatever helmet communication Bryce was getting just wasn't coming in quick enough, and it was just the decision making. Bryce is having to like keep clapping to get the ball. And some of that I think is on the center and the O line.
Well, it's also it's an away game, and Philly is known to have one of the loudest stadiums in the league. Obviously, with our fandom being as crazy as it is, it does make it hard for. And I want to call him a rookie quarterback still. He's not a rookie quarterback, but he's still technically a rookie quarterback in my eye, and that does make it hard for him. But he is coming into his own. I gotta give credit to Bryce Young, and I know most opposing players and opposing teams are not going to say this, but I do believe that Bryce Young will be a great quarterback in the future for that organization if they take time and develop and put pieces around him. Adam Thielen is great for y'all. And I said that
great today
ago, and people try to persecute me, but Adam Thielen is wide receiver 1 for the Carolina Panthers.
I'm well documented being on Bryce's side during the draft over the CJ Stroud, who else? Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, you guys. I was always impressed with Bryce and his composure at Alabama, and I felt like that quality over for me. The CJ Stroud pick, it was hard for me to tell if CJ Stroud was good or if CJ Stroud just had first round talent wide receivers going against defensive backs that don't traditionally get drafted in the Big Ten. So some schools have them. Iowa's got DBs that get drafted. Michigan's got plenty, but there's a lot of schools that just don't have guys getting drafted. So that was I just wasn't as convinced on CJ. I was big on Bryce. Kind of in between there, I was, and it wasn't personal to Bryce, but I think it got to a point for me where we were trying to force this Carolina and Bryce relationship. And I think the good thing about drafting quarterbacks is they hold a lot of value. So there was when Andy Dalton came in earlier this year, I was okay with that. I was okay with a different direction in the offseason. I'm kind of still up in the air as the year goes on in terms of how I feel about it. But today I'm okay with Bryce. Last week I'm okay with Bryce. Chiefs game, I'm okay with Bryce. Chapter title for quarter 3: Can't Stop Saquon. There would be too many times where he just breaks for this first down run, 8 yards here, 7 yards. It's not a 2-3 yards. It's not even 4 yards at a time. 4 yards at a time, it's like, okay, once it gets to third down, we can play some ball. It's not really getting there. Just didn't feel like the defense we had was capable. So that's my chapter title for quarter 3. Can't Stop Saquon.
What are you learning about this group as the season rolls on?
I mean, we're a tough bunch. We're resilient. We always trust in each other. No matter what the situation in the game, we believe we're going to win. We knew it was going to be a tough team. Obviously, their record doesn't show how good they are. They've been a lot of close games, just haven't figured out ways to finish it. And we knew it was going to be a 60-minute fight, and we got the job done.
When we get into quarter 4, I want to give light to a little situation in Philadelphia. I know every team we're getting late into the season has injuries. Most of the NFC has injuries. But this Philadelphia Eagles team has that next man up mentality. And I'm looking around our defense and our offense, and we have major key players that are out. BG tore his tricep a couple games ago. BG is a captain on the defense, a Super Bowl winner, a Tom Brady sacker for the Super Bowl, like one of the best defensive plays in Philadelphia history. He being out, Reed Blankenship, our safety, I think he has the most picks on our team. He also is just a hitter, was out. CJ went out a couple times today. We are struggling with some injuries, and I feel like today it kind of showed. Defensively, I'm looking, and while the Panthers only put up 16 points on us, It did not look like a good defensive game on the Eagles' part, who is the number one defense in the league. 16 points is still short, a small number, but it just looks bad coupled with our offensive flaws of only 22 points. So it was an interesting fourth quarter. This game came down to the wire. I will say, box score wise and game cast wise, in the fourth quarter, we put up 8 points. We got a touchdown from, uh, was it Coke Patera that scored?
Yeah.
Wow. So Goddard out, he steps up. Then they get the penalty on the field goal. So we decide to go for two instead. And that man does what he does.
Converted.
Um, this was a point in the game where I'm just like, it's just too close. This is too close to be like it is. Shout out to the Panthers for playing a good game. But the Eagles, if we want to continue with our success, we did not. Today was not a get better game. It wasn't a like, let's show who we are resilience game. This was a fight, and we won by last second knockout. What you got for fourth quarter, Chris?
The fourth quarter notes before the chapter, 5 lead changes in this game. So you really get to see a little bit of combat. And when you're on the road, you're a young team like we are. It's all you can ask for. You're playing a quality team. That's all you can ask for is a fight. Giving my game ball to Chuba Workhorse Hubbard. We were expected to have two kind of a two-headed attack. Jonathan Brooks being back, as I mentioned earlier, but he re-aggravates an injury in the second quarter. So we're back to without him, without Miles Sanders, without I don't even know the fourth string guy's name, but he's actually out too. So it's all Chuba. And that limits our play calling a little bit. He's a certain type of running back, but that's really all we have right now. So we're trying to hand it off to him. We're trying to switch it up, but towards the end, we do get a little bit predictable on our play calling, even on some of the screens and stuff that we're throwing to him just to try to switch it up and add some variety. This is not a completely fresh Chuba Hubbard by any means. So shout out to him for staying in there and fighting all game. I started off quarter one being this is a home game, but there was actually a play that they missed that was on the Panthers, and that's a face mask that if they call that on third down, it's automatic first down. The game's over. So I feel like I wouldn't necessarily say even, but it's like okay, that definitely can't be my excuse at that point. JC Horn went down a little bit. Hope he's okay. We had a missed PAT. Credit to the Eagles. They had a very nice punt to get us down to within the 5. We've got to go the length of the field. We're throwing in our own end zone. No fan loves to see that, but broke a tackle and made a play to Leggett and started to work our way up the field. And then what we have is where the DBs actually beat. And you've got Xavier Leggett and catches the ball in and kind of rolls into the end zone. And you're as a fan, I'm up and I'm on my feet and I've got certain phone numbers ready to dial in my phone.
Dang.
And they run the replay. And unfortunately, he does not maintain that catch. Still some issues with some of the play calling and getting the ball snapped in time, just fundamental stuff. My title for the fourth quarter is inexperienced. few times it went to Leggett, and he would either drop it. There was one Bryce threw basically in the dirt. There was just a lot of plays we were relying on Thielen quite a bit, and Thielen made some great plays. Shout out to him today too. But it can't all be, Thielen isn't gonna save us. And what a lot of people don't realize, Panthers aren't even necessarily out of the playoff chase. And somebody might hear that and think I'm absolutely crazy. NFC South is bad. Not that the Panthers are doing anything right or great. The South is just bad. I think we're 3 games out, but it's not impossible. So really wanted to get today, but today was obvious that we are an inexperienced team.
With the Panthers not being out, Falcons lost today. I want to talk about the future for the Panthers coming up. We talk about the Eagles' future so much. We know everybody, it's on ESPN. We know what's happening. The Panthers' future, as we come to a close, they play the Cowboys next. Then they turn around and play the Cardinals. Then they play 2 division games to end the season while playing the Buccaneers and the Falcons. So in reality, it is in your hands. The Falcons lost today. The Bucs ended up winning, but it's in your hands. Cowboys obviously should be a good game. I still believe. Cardinals obviously a good game, but I want to talk about those last 2 games as we come to a wrap. What do you think you need to do to beat the Buccaneers and the Falcons?
A lot of it depends. Leggett has dropped earlier in the season and has gone publicly to apologize for it and turn around and say, next time I got you. And today was next time, and he didn't have us. And so a lot of it depends on, do we make those plays? Even, I don't know if you remember early in the first quarter, there was a scramble out and then a throw to our rookie tight end, Sanders. And he just couldn't track it in the air like he needed to. And so it's like, we're young, do we start making those plays? What's the difference in, us making some of those plays versus us not? From what I've seen, Jonathan Brooks, our backup running back, may have re-aggravated an ACL injury. I don't anticipate him coming back anytime soon. Do we make it across the finish line healthy? I'm actually impressed with the way we've been able to put some of these games together back to back to back. We'll need some momentum though. I think the Cardinals game is going to be huge going into those last 2. We've got to find a confidence point somewhere. That's a W, not we were close with the whoever. We were 1 possession away. Like sometimes you need to win those games. So I think momentum is going to be a big thing, a big factor. Chuba hang in there for us and just be durable throughout. I could see Bryce starting to make some more plays with his feet too. I think I think that's kind of the last rabbit in the hat, so to speak, for us is him becoming more of a dual threat. And so that's what's big for us moving forward.
Good. I want to thank you, Chris. I know we're a part of RGC, but it's good to see you in this football category. I will say, for anybody out there that is hating on the Panthers, let me be the first to say that Panthers team is no scrubs. They are not what their record is, unfortunately. I got to say one more thing about it because, like you said, you got to win some of those games. I need you to know you lost to the reigning Super Bowl champions by 3. You lost to the Buccaneers, who are on a hot streak, by 3.
In overtime.
In overtime. You lost to the Eagles today by 6, who are the number 1 defense.
On a drop touchdown that was there and open. It's like it's 1 play.
So, I mean, there is that. And I do see, even if it's not this year, that Panthers organization is going to get it together. They're going to get it right, Lord willing. But It's been another episode of Requesting Good Company, because we're always requesting good company.